Hello, fellow victims of mathematics. Welcome back to our channel, where we can channel even more mental stress to you.
Today's discussion will be about using the ever-useful complete the square technique to solve algebraic equations.
Complete the square is actually a very useful method that's applicable to solve most problems that involve quadratics. Truth is, many of us often forget how to do it or forget that we should be applying this technique in the problem we are facing. So here's our problem. It does seem slightly simpler than it actually is. So you may pause the video at this point to attempt it yourself, or if you like, just continue watching and follow our solution step by step. Notice that it isn't really obvious that completing the square should be involved in the solution of this problem, but it is essential. Also, you will see a few other basic algebra concepts being used here. Alright, let's begin. Here we have 4x minus 8 equals y minus 5 over x minus 4. We need to make x the subject of the equation. This means in the end, we need to isolate x on one side, and on the other side, we cannot have any x. The first goal in mind we should always have is to simplify the math. Fractions like this are more complicated than not having them. Hence, we get rid of it by shifting the bottom part of the fraction to the other side of the equation. Be careful that shifting like this can only be done when the whole side of the equation is a fraction itself. So this is the result of the shift. We can now expand this chunk on the left using the so-called rainbow method, illustrated right here, to give us these separated terms that will be easier for us to deal with. Now we see that y is almost alone on the right hand side. We will want him alone here. So plus 5 to both sides and cancel this out and there. But wait, our final goal here is to make x the subject, not y, although y is the subject right now. So how do we do that? We have a quadratic equation with all the x's on the left hand side. If we could find the roots of this equation, we will get x equals to something which makes x the subject. We have many common methods of finding roots of quadratic equations. These various methods are shown here. However, all these methods, when applied to this equation, tell us that there are no real roots for this equation. So, what do we do? Well, here is the next step. We all already know this isn't magic. It's completing the square. This technique also, when required, help us to find the roots of quadratic equations. But more importantly for this question, it's the only method that we know that can get us to the full solution. If you already know how to execute complete the square, that's great. But if not, we will be covering the details of it in another video. Do watch it if you want to master using complete the square to solve any quadratic equation. Now back to the problem at hand. After completing the square, this is what we get. We now want to isolate this square group. So let's minus 1 on both sides and divide by 4 on both sides. With this square group isolated on the left hand side, square root both sides of the equation to remove the square from this group. Do be careful that every time you square root both sides of an equation, include this plus minus sign. This is necessary to show that both the positive and negative versions of this expression are possible here. Look, we are almost there. plus 3 on both sides here, and finally we get x as a subject. Before we finish the solution, we can simplify the fraction further. Split the roots top and bottom, and root 4 gives us 2 here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our final answer. This last part about the roots, if you are confused over this section, don't worry. We will also be releasing videos on surds and rationalization, which is all about these square roots. Whew! That felt like a long run, doesn't it? Just like a marathon. No? Okay. Well, do continue to follow our channel, subscribe to it if you haven't. Like our video if you find our humor lame. Hopefully, you guys did learn something useful from this video. Thank you for watching it. And we really appreciate all the support that we have received from everyone so far. For those of you who are not yet aware, in our upcoming videos, other than doing math problems walkthroughs like this, there will be topical summaries, guides, and even some casual stuff like readers, cartoons, and subjective discussions on some highly interesting topics of math. Okay, everyone, see you again next time.